You guys, woo-hoo-hoo. I can't keep up. One of the reasons why I'm starting to get like stream anxiety now, like, I feel like if I don't stream, I'm just gonna get like, there's a deluge of there's just too much news and too much craziness in the media. If I don't stream, I'm gonna fall behind. But holy shit, right? This is crazy. Journalists never miss an opportunity to make themselves look like fucking idiots. And then they sit back and go, why are people calling us idiots? It's because of Donald Trump. He's encouraging attacks on us. It's like, no, it's because you're a moron. Like, this dead spin nonsense. Hey, could you maybe write about sports? But you're stopping us talking truth to power. No, we just want you to write about sports because it's a sports website. If you want to actually go and like write about politics, we own a politics website. You can go publish your work over there. The corporate vultures are destroying us. Like, fuck, man. You're just detached from reality because journalism is a profession that has had no oversight for way too long. And the people that have infected it and made it rotten and vile and pus-filled, there's no one there anymore to stop them doing that. There's no consequences. It used to be you. So what they did is they start smearing you. So now your harassment campaign, if you criticize them, they did it. That was the final piece of oversight. They've sewn themselves shut in the wound, in the body, and it's rotten from the inside out. The good news is it will die. This brand of journalism, you cannot be that fucking corrupt to the core for that long without it collapsing in on itself. And that's what we're starting to see, right? Anyway, let's just start, right, with a nice, wholesome tweet from the baddest orange man on the planet. You might have heard of him. He's called Donald Trump. He's called Donald Trump. He's evil, okay? Apparently, I'm told. He never used to be evil, but then he became president and then he was evil. But he was all right like 3-4 years ago. But he's evil now, okay? And if you think otherwise, if you don't think he's pure evil and cut from the same cloth as Adolf Hitler, then you're evil too, okay? So I just want to establish that. And it's just that simple, guys. There's no nuance or anything. So Donald Trump, okay, tweeted out this very clearly photoshopped image. And it's not even his. You see, I'm a journalist, but I specialize in investigative journalism and have done for many years. I always felt that if we could live many lives over, the things that I'd like to do is, I'd like to live another life as a lawyer, maybe be a homicide detective. I'm never going to get to do those things. I'm too old. You get one life. I did this. Unlucky. If this was a D&D campaign, I'd have re-rolled the character and gone and done something less stressful and more interesting. But I can't. I'm stuck. So it's okay. But anyway, so I specialize in investigating. So one of the first things I did when I looked at this to check if it was a Photoshop or not was, forget the very clear blurring and pixelation. Maybe that's an effect on a camera and it is real. But, I look at the bottom right-hand corner and I see @Real Daily Wire, which says they're the source of the image, you see. So it's not Donald Trump that tweeted this out. Or rather, it's not Donald Trump that created it. He just tweeted it out. So, that tells you not only that it is a meme, right, but where that meme came from. That should be enough, okay? Now, I want you to think about what happens next, okay? I'll just also point out one of the most mentally ill men on social media who works as a doctor. Apparently, I don't know how he hasn't been struck off. He is a danger to his patients, a danger to himself. This man has serious mental health problems. I can't wait to do a video on this guy. Top reply, because he's a Trump reply guy. Eugene Gu, which, by the way, his delusions have attracted 310,000 followers. Right? Trump, bro, this is beyond gross. This is obviously photoshopped. Correct. Yes. It's not even a meme or something funny. It is. Go look at what the word memetic means. It's very much a meme. It's not even a meme or something funny to laugh at because the subject material is plausible for many people who do not examine the picture carefully and don't notice the unnatural lines and silhouettes. Okay, now, I expect that kind of gibberish from mentally ill man Eugene Gu, MD, right? Like, I expect that, okay? But here's the thing with that. So he's overlooking the very clear watermark in the bottom right-hand corner. There's also a few facts that you might want to just know. That that is a Medal of Honor ribbon. Last time I checked, Medal of Honors don't have dog paws on them, right? That's not the symbol of the Medal of Honor, by the way. Like, just putting that out there. Next up, all right, and hold tight because I'm gonna drop some facts. You can't give the Medal of Honor to a dog. In fact, in the U.S., I think they only started giving out medals for valor to service animals in 2017. And I don't even know if it applies to dogs that go on Navy SEAL raids. And again, I found this out, right, because I did some research, see. So not only, right, not only is it clearly a meme, not only is it clearly photoshopped, not only do we know where it came from, okay, anybody who even just sat down to fact check, is he really giving a dog a medal? You would find all of these facts. So whatever. Oh, there you go. And Eugene Gu isn't a doctor anymore. Yeah, I gotta stop saying that. Because he doesn't have a residency anymore. Probably because of the crazy shit where he pretended to be a girl and all of this stuff to get back at his ex. So, oh, guys, just Google it, because, my video's going to knock your socks off, but like everything, you're going to have to wait a while. Just Google, Eugene Gu fake Twitter account. Just Google it. And sit there and read it while I regale you the tale of the deranged journalists in Washington. And you can read that and listen to me at the same time, and I think you probably won't want to live on this planet anymore. I think that will be the overload. Right? So, just check it out, man. It's there, the first thing that comes up. And he had to issue an apology for it as well. That's the worst thing. He was banged so right. He had to issue an apology and go, yeah, I was just straight pretending, to be a woman to get back at my ex. Pretending to be my own girlfriend and shit. Mate, it's mental. Anyway, so Donald Trump tweets this out, right? For me, you just let this one go. It's clearly a meme. No, wrong. So I was watching this in real time because I saw a few people tweet out jokes, Alex Griswold and people like that. They were tweeting stuff out going, it's going to be hilarious watching the journalists fact check that meme. And he was memeing and he was joking, but the journalists did it. I swear, I'm not shitting you. They 100% did do it. So this is the first one I noticed, right? And I even tweeted out about this. And I had people reply to me saying, Richard, what you mocking him for? I'm like, guys, don't you understand that is clearly a Photoshop of a dog getting a medal off Donald Trump? Right. Journalists really got too much free time, I would say. I've requested details from the White House on this photo. There was no such canine event. Oh, God! These people are real. There was no such canine event on today's POTUS schedule, but there is a Medal of Honor ceremony set here for later for an active duty Green Beret. It's photoshopped. Acknowledges a White House official. The dog is not here at the White House yet. This is Pulitzer shit, man. Fucking do it, man. I can't wait to see the movie that gets made based on this guy's life story. Who are you? Steve Herman. I was the guy that found out that Donald Trump's tweet was actually the Photoshop dog. Fucking hell. Get Michael Keaton Spotlight 2. This time it's a dog meme. Fucking mate. Get me out. Turn the simulation off. It's gone weird. So anyway, I couldn't... I thought, he's just had a bad day at the office, right? He's just had a bad day at the office. So he's going to just, ride this one out. And he's just going to have to he's just going to have to look like a plum. Surely there's not going to be a stirring up of the journalists coming out about this. Well, unfortunately, turns out, yeah, they went mental. So it started spreading, like again, just like the fucking virus. So Jim Acosta was there, right? Now, you all remember Jim Acosta. Jim Acosta, a man with such a slender grip on fucking sanity and reality that, you know, he's talking about how dangerous it is to be a fucking journalist in the era of Trump. Meanwhile, he's karate chopping women's arms so he can keep hold of a microphone and ask question after question, and then denies that he made any physical contact when there isn't a single video, doctored or otherwise, that suggests it. He comes out, right? You know, I don't know if you're really the guy to moral grandstand and talk about it. Jim Acosta, hated by the Washington press corps, by the way. You won't find a journalist who's got anything good to say about this guy. A White House official said the dog is not at the White House, implying that the tweet is a lie. Yeah, he ain't, mate. He's actually on deployment. He's actually on deployment. So yeah. So, okay, the dog's not in the White House, but that's just Jim Acosta. So don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it. Then you got this guy wades in, okay? SV Darte, White House correspondent at the Huffington Post. Fine. Just the president of the United States disseminating a doctored image created by a right-wing propaganda site. It's a dog meme, guys. Like, you've lost your motherfucking mind. Like, Trump derangement syndrome ain't never been more apparent to me than when I saw this. October 30th, this was. And as you'll see at the end, there was some of the news going on that maybe should have preoccupied journalists a little bit more. So there was a few other like journalists coming up. I'll take you back to this guy because Steve fucking Pee Wee Herman or whatever the fuck he's called. He had such a fucking breakdown because everyone was laughing at him. He then started in this Twitter chain showing, see, this is fine, actually. I was perfectly right to question this. So you can see, they tweeted out other journalists, many of whom have deleted this take now. They must have had a moment of clarity, these ones. Right? Why the terrible Photoshop on top of everything else from Manouchi Hussain? That's a journalist and political analyst at CNN. This was another journalist there. That was another journalist up there. There he is, SV Darte. Fine, just the President of the United States. We just looked at that one. Then the New York motherfucking Times did a story on it, guys. The New York Times, right, the paper of record, sat down and published this. And just to show you how fucking delusional journalists are, right, they assigned not one, but two journalists to this story. So New York Times, they assigned two journalists, Niraj Chokshi and Karen Zrake. Trump tweets faked photo of hero dog getting a medal. The joke photo appeared to use an image from a 2017 Medal of Honor ceremony. Like, guys, like, please, what are you doing? Like, please, why are you writing about this? Why are you writing about this? Everybody knows it's a meme. It's only the journalist class that has any issue with this. But you're so jacked up on trying to nail Trump for everything, especially as we approach 2020, that you fucking embarrass yourself every time. There was another geezer, I can't even remember his name. He's some sort of fucking games journalist who has, like, former US Marine in his bio, and he's a fucking one of these, like, fake progressive idiots. Can't even remember his name. He's that inconsequential. You know, another one of these ones. He's, like, cultivated, like, 3,000 Twitter followers and thinks he fucking matters now. And he said, he tweeted out, no, he really photoshopped a dog meme. Donald Trump don't know how to use Photoshop, mate. That should be apparent to anybody with two fucking brain cells to rub together, but whatever. So then you see, because the media have made themselves look like fucking idiots again, they have to pivot. Like, oh, fuck, no, everyone's laughing at us. We didn't get the right response. Because you're not real people anymore. You know, you've lost touch with what real people think. This is why you were wrong in 2016. This is why you don't realize how nauseating and off-putting your coverage is to the average person, right? So you thought everyone was going to clap and be like, oh, the journalists have nailed Trump again. No, they're just laughing at you. Like, we're just laughing at you every time. So they had to pivot. So what they did now is They found the original photo that it was shopped from, and it was James McLuhan, Medal of Honor winner in 2017. Very distinguished serviceman, because those Medal of Honors are pretty rare. And they went and they were like, oh, what does he think about this? So then it was, oh, look, what a disgrace. He's disrespecting the troops, blah, blah, blah. Slight problem, okay? Because James McLuhan is a regular human being, yeah, he just laughed it off. In an interview on Wednesday, Mr. McLuhan, 73, who had not seen the image before a reporter sent it to him, said that he interpreted it as Mr. Trump recognizing the dog's heroism. He was not offended and laughed when he compared the two images. So, unlucky media, they literally tried, they basically bothered a 73-year-old service veteran enjoying the last few years of his life, just kicking it back. And they bothered him with this bullshit, trying to get a quote from him saying, well, Donald Trump is massively disrespecting me. And he just couldn't give less of a fuck about your nonsense. Just couldn't give less of a fuck. So you lose again. Sorry, New York Times. Unlucky. But then this is where it gets really insane. You're thinking, Richard, mate, it's already insane. They're losing their mind over dog memes. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Wait till you see this. So, they wanted to try and nail as many people as possible in all of this. And so they wanted to put it on the fucking the Daily Caller, right? Which is, you may or may not know, is Ben Shapiro's website. Right? So, here's what they did. The Washington Post, we're going to talk about them later. The Washington Post reached out and asked Jeremy D. Boring, who is the co-founder of the Daily Wire. Sorry, I said Daily Caller. That's Tucker Carlson's. Daily Wire is the site. So Ben Shapiro tweeted this out. Washington Post asked my business partner, Jeremy Boring, about our Medal of Honor dog meme. His glorious response is screen cap below. Their report then suggested Jeremy refused to answer questions about the picture. No, we just think you're being fucking insane. So, let's have a look. This is the email a Washington Post reporter sent. Hello, I'm with the Washington Post and wanted to get confirmation this photo originated with you, and if it did, that you digitally removed Medal of Honor recipient James McLuhan and replaced him with a dog. That's one of them leading questions, like when did you stop beating your wife? That's one of them, right? They did this. Then, Jeremy Boring, Alex, on the record, you've got to be fucking joking. And please quote me on that. Which, by the way, that's the only statement that you make in situations like this. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's a fucking joke. Why are you treating it as if it's an indictment on our publication? Here's what they reported, though. Now, keep in mind, that is a quote that has been provided on the record, which they declined to use, even after asking for a quote. Here it is. A watermark, this is the Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness, folks. This is how they spend their time. A watermark for the site appears in Trump's tweet, but it is a cropped version that removes the attribution of the source photo, which is the Associated Press. So first, they're like, yeah, man, that's straight plagiarizing. It's plagiarism, so it's bad, right? That would have indicated that it began as a legitimate news photo, raising the question of whether Trump or a staffer knew McLuhan had been edited out. A White House spokesman declined to comment. McLuhan, 73, could not be reached for comment, except when he was, and he laughed it off. Unlucky wappo. But then, Jeremy Boring, the chief operating officer at the Daily Wire, dismissed emailed questions about whether the altered photo originated from his publication. No, he didn't. No, he didn't at all. That isn't what happened at all. Like, they just lie to you guys. Like, they just lie. He didn't dismiss it. He said, you've got to be fucking joking. Like, and told you to quote him on it. It's... And then Ben Shapiro follows it up with, yes, we created the meme. Yes, it is a joke. Yes, you people are also jokes. Please feel free to quote both me and Jeremy on this. And then, this is perfect. I love this. Should have emailed back this. The dog giving Donald Trump the medal. And then they would have said, like, if Donald Trump had tweeted that out, you have to understand this isn't the first time. This isn't the first time. Do you remember when we talked about this before, right? I've covered this on another stream, right? Do you remember when Donald Trump tweeted a picture of Biden kissing himself on the back of the neck? Do you remember that? And they called that a doctored image. Of course it is. It has to be. Joe Biden isn't Dr. Manhattan. He cannot appear with a simulacrum behind himself and kiss his own neck, can he? Like, the media's a mess. It's a mess. Anyway. Just to put the fucking icing on the cake as well, Trump fully wrecks him. Because they were all running around saying, like, oh, is the dog at the White House? Is this picture doctored? Blah, blah, blah. So then, once they've embarrassed themselves with this shit, what do you think Trump does? Right? He waits, he sits, and then bosh. Conan, the military dog wounded in the Baghdadi raid, will be headed to the White House just at a later date. So you're going to do this all again? You're going to have to fact check when he's going to give you a real picture of him really giving the dog a real fucking medal. You've been played, like, every time like a fucking fiddle. You idiots. You do it to yourselves. And I just want to underline, by the way, what was going on at the same fucking time that all of this shit's going down. If you ever say to me, Richard, the media's fine, there's no, it hasn't changed. You've just been sucked into the right-wing vortex, and this is a right-wing talking point. The media is functional, and these stories are necessary to our democracy, and journalists aren't arrogant. If you tell me anything like this, I immediately dismiss you as an idiot, and I'll tell you why. There's just an overwhelming amount of evidence that disproves any of those points. There is something wrong with the media. At the same time, right, round about the same time that they're running around fact-checking a dog meme, right, it of course comes out that one of the US's leading pathologists, who's been involved in many celebrity cases, basically says, having looked at the body and looked at the reports and everything about Jeffrey Epstein, his injuries look more like murder than suicide. Now this, okay, just to underline it, right? Back in the day, stories like this is what used to preoccupy journalists. Let's be clear about what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, the sick, demented fuck that was running a literal pedophile island that the elites would go to on private jets to have parties that, we just don't know what was going on there. But I could take a guess. Somebody who has been named in multiple fucking cases from multiple victims of women who say they were trafficked and forced into having sex with said celebrities, all in publicly available records. He gets arrested. He's going to go on the record. His own counsel say that Jeffrey Epstein's feeling pretty good. He gets attacked in prison, which they say is a fake suicide attempt. But again, people close to Epstein said, no, he was attacked by somebody. Somebody tried to kill him. Whitewashed. Pushed under the fucking bed. Like, nothing to see here, folks. Smoke and motherfucking mirrors. Then, while he's awaiting to give these fucking absolute bombshell fucking cards that he's got to play, because he can name every powerful person that ever fucking had a drink with him and embroil them in this fucking, pedophile human trafficking nightmare, right? So while he's sat in a cell, supposedly having just come off suicide watch, 2 guards fall asleep in the control room where they should be watching a live CCTV feed of him. The camera malfunctions and no tape is recorded, and he picks that exact moment to hang himself on a double-decker bed with such a forceful jump it breaks 3 bones in his neck. Guys, if anybody believes this story, they shouldn't be out in public, because they'll just get rolled by every motherfucker on planet Earth like magic beans. Like, you cannot believe this. Like, it's not even a conspiracy theory to fucking sit here and say this. This isn't Alex Jones territory. This man was killed. Now, on top of that, that story's already outrageous. Right? Just for what I tell you. Now, one of the leading pathologists in America, Dr. Michael Baden, a guy, I'm saying in America, he's one of the world's leading pathologists. They call this motherfucker in every time there's like some big celebrity, like murder trial or suspected suicide, anything suspicious. He sits down, because he's getting old, he's in his 80s, so he straight doesn't give a fuck anymore, and says, yo, it points to murder, mate. It all points to murder. Why aren't you running down the leads on this, guys? Why aren't the journalists tweeting about this? No, here's what you're tweeting about. Not that a shadowy cabal of powerful people had another shadowy powerful person killed to protect their interests. That's a bit too dangerous, isn't it? A bit too much like biting the hand that feeds with all that corporate money. We never know who's going to get tied up. We never know what's going to happen if we turn over stones. This is what journalists pledge to do. You've got something very rotten going on in America right now when this can happen and no one gives a shit. You got a real problem, right? You got a real problem. And journalists are meant to be the fourth estate. They're meant to be out there protecting you from this shit. They're meant to be telling you what's going on. They ain't interested. They running down dog memes for retweets. They're saying Orange Man bad. Tell you who's bad. Whoever the fuck had Epstein killed. The fact that they're out there and could do this and get away with it, and no one gives really any of a fuck. We all meme about it. That should terrify everybody. But nah, the dog memes. This is within 24 hours, less than, of each other. Let me show you as well. Okay, Richard, but big investigations take time, right? Let's see what they're interested in. Let's go over Brian Stelter, one of the leading guys on fucking CNN. What's he been tweeting about the last few days? I haven't seen him mention Epstein, actually. But let's see what he's up to. Hey, what's on your Twitter, Brian, my favorite comfort-eating journalist? Right? He's tweeting. This is on the 2nd. I'm curious to find out. Who invited Trump to this UFC fight and why? You're curious about that. That's what you're curious about. One of the most wealthy and powerful men, like with ties to people across both political parties, is necked in his fucking cell while nobody fucking watches it, and you're interested in what the president of the United States is doing attending a major sporting event. You want to know who invited him? Dana White did, you fucking mug. I just answered your question. Next. Dana White, the long-standing guy who has publicly said he will never, ever, ever insult Donald Trump because Donald Trump helped his business out at the start when no one else would. He's on record at saying that, Brian. Again, you just have to Google these things. Don't worry, though. He totally made up for it today. CNN went deep. They went deep on a story that, it's not Epstein levels, but it's pretty big, guys. And it goes to the heart of America, and it speaks truth to power. And it's something I'm sure you all need to know about. Okay? So, I always like to present both sides. Sure, this was a dumb tweet. But Brian Stelter, when he gets on his news network, he really delivers the big news and the big stories. Here he is today, doing his big one. Why does Trump misspell so many words? This is today. This was this morning. Or this afternoon, depending where you're at. Why does Trump misspell so many words, he says? Here's another one, look. Infair, Republicans, and dozens of other typos. Another image. Trump's avalanche of absurd Twitter typos. Number of Twitter misspellings since Trump took office, 188. But could it be familial? Could Donald Trump Jr. also be a congenital idiot? He too has had 90 typos on Twitter. We're getting deep, guys. We got the data. You know, you don't need to worry about Epstein and the shadowy cabal of powerful people that really control everything that everyone tells you about and then mysteriously fucking dies or disappears or has their career ended. Don't worry about that historically, that's been going on for decades. Let's talk about Trump's avalanche of absurd Twitter typos right here, right now. This is the shit that matters, yeah? So, what are we going to end it on? Look at this. Top misspellings. Council, Barack, Capitol Hill. Good job, Brian. Truth to power, mate. Truth to power.